Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Ramstead. I am a graduate student studying agricultural education and agriculture communication here at the University of Florida, and I'm excited to share with you my research prospectus entitled Teacher Implementation of Competition in the Agricultural Education Classroom. So I'm going to kind of break down the different elements of the research poster here today, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email or commenting on the discussion post. So to get started, as agricultural education teachers, we are tasked with a variety of different things every single day, and no 2 days are ever the exact same. Between managing what's going on day to day in our classrooms, teaching multiple different preps, to managing work-based learning and supervised agriculture experiences for our students out on their job sites, to helping ensure leadership opportunities through the National Alphabet Organization, agricultural education teachers truly have a lot on their plate. And teachers need to be wise and intuitive with how they manage their time and balance all of these different priorities. And one of the ways that teachers can do this is through actually integrating some of the FFA and leadership development components and SAE within their agricultural education classes. And that comes in the form of potentially integrating competition or competitive elements within the classroom. So there may be a significant expectation within different communities, depending on where the agricultural education program is located, for performance in career development events, leadership development events, proficiency awards, agri-science fair, the list goes on and on. There's lots of different expectations depending on where you are located and what your community traditions and history are. And teachers, if they're intuitive and wise and are able to use their resources to modify curricular needs to integrate those into their classroom, they may be able to kind of kill two birds with one stone, if you will, by preparing students for careers and agriculture, while also getting some of those students ready to knock some of those CDE and LDE events out of the park if they're interested in doing that. So limited work has been done correlating teachers' pedagogical design capacity, or PDC, and their pedagogical content knowledge, or PCK, with their ability to teach different classes and bring competitive elements within their programs. Pedagogical design capacity generally refers to a teacher's ability to modify and implement curriculum within their classes to fit the need of their programs or their students. And PCK, or pedagogical design capacity, or pedagogical content knowledge, PCK refers to a teacher's knowledge or skill area within a particular content area. So for me, for instance, I would say that I have higher pedagogical content knowledge in agribusiness and animal science than I do agricultural mechanics. So every teacher is a little bit different with their comfort level with PDC for offloading or revising curriculum for the different classes, and also their PCK, or their knowledge and their experiences that they have within classes. And this is going to be the basic need of this project. And it's significant because if we can find a link between PDC and PCK and competitive elements in our classes, we may be able to provide recommendations or solutions to agricultural education teachers and how they can best implement some of these FFA resources and opportunities that are available within agricultural education to not only train the future of agriculture in our classes, but also help kind of coach some of those teams and prepare them to the best of our ability while they're actually in our classes. So looking at our purpose and objectives, the study is twofold. So there is a quantitative portion, which is happening first, and a qualitative portion, which is happening as a follow-up or second. This is not truly a mixed method study because the data is going to be analyzed independently, not together like you would in a traditional mixed method study. But the overarching purpose of the studies are to evaluate the extent in which AF&R teachers implement competition within their classrooms. For the quantitative portion of the study, which is going to happen first, and I'll speak to the methods here in a little bit, the three objectives that we have are determining the types of competition that are facilitated in Minnesota agriculture education classes. So is it a Kahoot game? Is it a Quizlet Live? Is it some type of hands-on activity or game that teaches students concepts or helps them review concepts? Number two, determining when competition occurs within Minnesota agriculture education classes. Is it happening at the end of the unit? Is it happening throughout a unit? Is it happening at the beginning of class as a bell ringer? When are competitive elements being introduced to students in their classes? And finally, determining how much competition is happening within Minnesota agriculture education classes. Is it happening a lot? in some content areas versus less in some others? Is it happening more? Like, what are the patterns of how much it's occurring within the different classes? Is there an association between teachers' content knowledge and how much competition they have? All of those things could be potentially measured with our quantitative instrument. On the qualitative side of things, we are looking at what relationships exist between a teacher's integration of competitive elements and their curricular decision making. So in speaking with the methodology of this project, the first part is going to consist of a quantitative study. This study is going to be in the form of an instrument that is sent out to a census of Minnesota Association of Agricultural Education members. So MAAE members who are attending the summer conference, July 2022. And these members are going to have the opportunity to fill out this instrument and submit it to me, and I will collect the data and run some data with it. And this instrument, of course, will be field tested. We will get IRB approval on it and everything before it actually is live and distributed to these participants in July of 2022. This data will then be coded and analyzed with descriptive statistics. And then from there, we will then select individuals who participated to be invited to a qualitative study. And that will consist of an interview, classroom observation, and then a follow-up interview. So 5 participants from that quantitative study will be invited, and I will go out and visit their classes and interview them at site. So they're going to be able to be in an environment that they're in every single day as their classroom or in their school. Participants will be asked to submit curricular artifacts or examples of how they implement competition within their classes. And then after that, they will participate in a classroom observation conducted by me. All of this will be recorded through Zoom and transcribed at a later time to help with coding and sorting the data as well. And then from there, hopefully we will have enough information to fulfill the quantitative objectives from that instrument, and then finally make a connection with that qualitative question that I mentioned previously. Through all of this, looking ahead and looking at what we anticipate to happen, I personally believe, after the research that I've done on the literature review, that teachers who utilize competitive elements in a given content area will tend to have a higher pedagogical design capacity, or PDC, and a higher pedagogical content knowledge, or PCK, in that given area. The reason being is that if they're able to integrate competition and not just merely teach the information, they're generally probably going to have to modify or change the resources to make it fit the needs of their curriculum. And for me personally, when I'm teaching my agriculture economics class, we have a lot of competitive elements and games and challenges in that class because I'm comfortable modifying that, and I'm not spending as much time creating PowerPoints or lessons because it comes naturally to me in that content area, and I can focus on making it even more interactive and hands-on for my students. Teachers who effectively utilize competitive elements in the classroom, I also think will likely utilize resources from the national FFA, or in our case, Minnesota FFA, as their starting point, and modify those resources to meet their students' needs or interests. So for instance, my veterinary science classes, my curriculum in terms of identification and some of the things that I teach comes directly from those practicums and the identification portions of the career development events. So that at the end of the semester, I can talk to my students and say, hey, you guys just learned over 200 different species of animals that are in the small animals competition or veterinary science competition. Who of you is interested in participating? Or I may go and seek out some students and encourage them and invite them to participate so they can go to that contest, zip up that blue jacket, and try something new and break out of their comfort zone. So at the end of the day, I'm very passionate about this research area. I love what I do as an ag teacher. It's very cup filling and it's fun. And although some days are more challenging than others in the classroom, anything that we can do to make the lives of teachers even easier and more simple, the better. So by doing this research, I hope that we can determine some links between pedagogical design capacity and content knowledge, and also the ability to hopefully, quote unquote, kill 2 birds with 1 stone and kind of train some of those FFA teams and those competitive opportunities right within inside of our classes, so that we can focus on delivering an outstanding agriculture education program and fulfilling all 3 components of that 3-component model of agriculture education, with classroom instruction, laboratory, and then also SAE, work-based learning, and then also leadership development. So again, thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.